Welcome to Dr. Jarrett's Science Shenanigans Teacher Edition. I'm excited for you to be here with me today. I'm excited to share my knowledge of the grade 5 science standards, specifically what the students will need to know and will not need to know to pass their 5th grade science assessment. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again.
I've been passionate about empowering educators in science education for many years. My dedication to science education also led to my dissertation, which focused on developing impactful lessons for science improvement. Since 2007, I've worked with over 75 schools across Florida, assisting in boosting grade 5 science scores. Together, we're making a difference in how young minds explore and engage with science. I'm so excited about you being here with me today.
Hello, welcome to today's session. We are actually going to break this set of benchmarks down. The main benchmark is SC5E7.3, but it also has three other also assessed as benchmarks. This is going to take a little bit of time when you are teaching it. It has extensive vocabulary, and there are sections where if you did not look in the item specifications, you would not know certain things about what the students are going to be required to know for their 5th grade science assessment. So we will be breaking this down with a 4-part series, and this section is again full of vocabulary. So let's get into it. Oh, we are on our last session, part 4 of SC5E7.3. And so today we are going to focus on SC5E7.6. And it's talking about the characteristics, the temperature and precipitation of the different climate zones relative to latitude, elevation, proximity to the bodies of water. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. This benchmark focuses on helping students understand how temperature and precipitation define the climate zones, which are polar, tropical, and temperate, and how factors like latitude, elevation, and proximity to water play a role. So, usually, what I do for this one it is what's called a quick draw, and it helps me to understand this benchmark as well. So usually what I do is either give the students or have them draw the earth, and then it is cut in half. So we have our equator, which is a dash for an imaginary line. And then I have the students to um, write tropical above the equator and below to the equator. Then I have them to write polar at the top of the um, map and then at the bottom of the map. And then in between tropical and polar, I put temperate and then they put temperate. And that is how I usually do a quick draw with the students, and that helps them for a visual. They could even draw that on a piece of paper when they're taking their assessment. It's a quick draw. It's supposed to be something that they can do it very fast, and it helps them to jog their memory on the different climate zones. And again, we're talking about polar, tropical, and temperate. The reason why I have them to do the equator is because that's where most of the hot temperature goes. And so that helps them when it comes down to temperature and precipitation when they have to break down this benchmark. The three main climate zones: tropical, that's found near the equator. These regions are warm all year round and they have a high precipitation. So I usually tell them that's like a rainforest area. Polar zones, they are located at the poles. And remember, we just did that quick draw so the students would know that's at the top of that map and at the bottom of the map. The regions are cold all year long with low precipitation. So we always talk about Antarctica or the Arctic. A couple times students have asked, is this where Santa Claus is from? So don't be surprised if a student asks you about the South Pole or the North Pole, and connect those with Santa Claus. Also, temperate zones. Those are found between the tropic poles. So, your tropical zone and your polar zone, you will find that temperate. And remember, we did that quick draw with the students. And so, those regions have moderate temperatures and they vary in precipitation. And so, Florida, the lower part of Florida, we're kind of in that tropical zone, but the um, panhandle of Florida, we're kind of in that temperate zone. So the students will need to understand that just a little bit. So make sure that you have the maps out so that they can get these visuals. Again, visuals are going to be your best friend when it comes down to talking about the three different types of zones, and also them understanding about precipitation and the temperature of these zones. We have three vocabulary words: latitude, elevation, and proximity to bodies of water. So the students are going to have to understand that. Latitude measures how far a place is from the equator. So when we think about it, our tropical zones are very close to the equator. Our temperate zones are above that tropical, but below that polar. So they're kind of, they get um, seasonal changes. So that is a very big piece for them to understand that. But we don't really go into season changes in earth or space science. So you might want to talk to them a little bit about seasonal changes and if they've ever seen leaves turning colors. Um, that would help with the season changes. It just depends what part of Florida you're in, number one, and also what background and knowledge the students are going to come to you with. So if they come to you knowing about seasons, understanding what a map looks like, knowing what the equator is, this is going to be very easy. If they do not have that background knowledge, this is where you're going to have to show them videos, show them pictures, have maps up on the walls and look at the map, refer back to those maps so that the students can understand about the latitude. Elevation, the higher you go, the colder it gets. So that would go right in tune of what we were talking about from that quick draw, where if the tropical climate is closer to the equator, it's going to be warmer there. So when we talk about elevation, the higher you go, the colder it gets. So the further away from the warmth, you could say, the colder it's going to get as well. And the proximities to the bodies of water. How close is the land to the water? That would be a determining factor for this benchmark as well. Determining meaning what is the precipitation and what is the temperature in those areas. So if we look at Florida, um, North North Florida, we get the different types of seasons, but South Florida, you may not see those different types of seasons. Also, it's a little cooler in temperature when you're closer to the larger bodies of water than when you're inland. So that's something for the students to talk about as well. I hope that I have helped you with this particular benchmark. Again, it is SC.5E.7.6, and this was part 4 of the whole benchmark SC5E7.3. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for watching this session. The book, Unveiling the Power of Impactful Science Instruction, is available on Amazon, and it is a glimpse into my dissertation investigating the improvement in science achievement among fifth grade science students when using the instructional model.